Sandwich cakes are nothing new to me. In the space of a few months several years ago, I tried my hand at both the sandwich loaf of Minnesota, a nightmare of mid-century Americana, the kind of thing that you'd see on recipe inserts in homemaking magazines, alongside the jello mold salads and stuffed tomatoes and 101 creative uses for spam. It didn't work for me either structurally or in terms of flavor, though I did eventually at least manage to make it look beautiful. Then there was the Swedish smörgåstorta, which fared better both structurally and flavor-wise. Structurally, because the homemade round bread loaf I baked specially for it stacked more stably than a long, thin, tall, rectangular loaf would. And the flavor because the smoked salmon, the herring mousse, the cool, crisp cucumbers, the mustard sauce and cream cheese coating, and the tiny baby shrimp garnishes all seemed to work together better as flavors than the grab bag of recipes that went into the Minnesota monstrosity. That is not to say that the Minnesota version of a sandwich cake could not be similarly beautiful and delicious. I didn't pull it off, but surely somebody else could. I'm not here to relitigate that particular episode of the Tribunal, though. Today we are tackling yet another sandwich cake, this one known in a few cultures in Latin America, including the Dominican Republic, whose version my friend Barry tried in an episode of his Sandwiches of History just a few weeks ago. It's called Sandwichón, and it originated in Mexico, in the Yucatan, in the latter half of the 20th century. Most accounts credit the invention of the sandwich to a baker named Petronilo Vázquez Madera, who worked at and or owned a series of bakeries in the capital city of Mérida. He was an innovator in a less is more kind of way, selling bread with the crusts pre-trimmed to his pickier patrons. Eventually, Madera struck on the idea of using a deli-style slicer to cut the loaves horizontally, and then used those long, crustless, loaf-sized slices of bread to make multiple new snacks. First came arrolladitos, a pinwheel-style party treat featuring spreads like deviled ham or cream cheese rolled up in bread and sliced into 2 to 3 bite snacks. Eventually, around the year 1956, he used these flat sheets of crustless bread to develop the sandwich fillings layer cake and called it sandwichón. Traditional fillings for the sandwich include mainly cheese spreads and ham spreads, both of which are referred to as pâté by Yucatecans. There are fancier recipes out there, though, calling for tuna salads, chicken salads, various vegetable pâtés, etc. The whole sandwich is usually frosted either with a simple white cream cheese spread or a bright orange spread that mixes cream cheese and pimentos. The sandwich may then be garnished simply with pecans, often pineapple rings, or more extravagantly, with peppers and pickled vegetables, olives and capers and sprigs of cilantro. The options are unlimited. But I'm only making one of these things, so I picked 4 out of the dozens of different possible fillings I read about that appealed to me and came up with this. I used a pea pâté flavored with scallions and just a hint of mint that helped bring out the natural sweetness of the sweet peas. I also did a fairly straightforward chicken salad, using roasted chicken thighs seasoned with a mix of adobo and sazon, onion, celery, cilantro, scallions, lime juice, and of course mayonnaise. I also made the requisite ham pâté, which in my case was more like a southern-style deviled ham, and a cheese pâté, though without easy access to the specific queso desi and Mexican manchego that is normally used, I substituted sharp cheddar and domestic parmesan. Without access to the long horizontal slices like Don Madera pioneered, I, like many home cooks, used a plain soft white bread and trimmed the crusts myself. 2 loaves of bimbo is about 36 slices of bread, enough for a 2x3 sandwich cake with my 4 layers of fillings and 5 of bread. And I spritzed the bread with a little evaporated milk to help keep it moist. I topped all this with a cream cheese frosting colored by pimentos, and then allowed it to firm up in the refrigerator for about 3 hours before garnishing it with pickled carrots, more pimentos, sliced Spanish olives, slices of pickled jalapeno, and a few capers in a pattern that I thought, well, it looked pretty nice. Then I put it back in the fridge until I was ready to serve it. And to be honest, the Sandwichón was well received in a way that my previous attempts at sandwich cakes have not been. Each of these fillings is individually quite tasty, but more importantly, they all work together. The saltiness of the cheese spread providing sharp accents to the adjacent chicken salad, while the crisp celery and bright lime cilantro of the chicken salad brightened the solidity of the cheese spread. The sweetness of the peas also provided a welcome foil for the spicy and savory deviled ham, and other combinations of adjacent ingredients, chicken salad and deviled ham, say, or all four at once, complemented each other in similar ways. It's certainly not what we might think of when we imagine Mexican food. At least, it doesn't fit my own particular taco and burrito shaped preconceptions about the cuisine. It's kid-friendly in a way that I think would play very well in the kind of less adventurous, more Midwestern households I grew up in and around. It makes a lot of food, though, and I think saving it for a special occasion like a holiday party is the way to go. Sandwichón was good and fun in a way that almost makes me want to revisit the Minnesota sandwich loaf and see if being choosier about my recipes results in a better experience. Almost.